Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Kente to here with me today. How you doing, Kente?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing? Peace.
I'm doing quite well. Peace. Just for our viewers out there to gain a little bit of context, I have rainstorms here. Kente also has rainstorms where he's located, and so the lighting may go in and out. You might even hear a storm in the background, but we're here today to have another great conversation that's going to benefit the community. It's going to benefit the youth. It's going to benefit the elders, and I appreciate your company today. Kente, what's going on, sir?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. Where you from?
Originally I'm from Germantown, out in Philly, but honestly I moved all over, but that's my original place is Philly.
Okay, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Where and now you were raised in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I was raised in Philly for I think the first about 5 years of my life, and then after that I pretty much moved in what they call the greater Philadelphia area, which is considered the suburban area of Philly.
Okay.
So basically Montgomery County.
All right. And what was it like growing up there? Tell me.
It was cool. It was safe. It wasn't dangerous. You know, of course, with it being in a suburban area, you know, not a lot of colored people, you know, and so people with color, and so you kind of deal with those type of things growing up in Montgomery County. But it made me a stronger person. It made me want to be, you know, more aware of who I am and what I got to do in my mission in my life. And so my mom always pretty much raised us to have a clear understanding of who we are before we even stepped into the school system, pretty much.
Wow. What sorts of things did she teach you in order to help you establish a sense of self-identity?
Well, number one, she always excuse me. She always pretty much taught us that if you don't know something, you need to go look it up. And so that's probably the most powerful thing she ever told me ever in my life, because that set the stage for how I'm set up now in my life today. She gave us a clear understanding about our history, who we are as Black people, who we are in our power and who we are, and especially me as a Black male, because I have to pretty much be on point at all times, considering our history. You know, we're not going to be ignorant to what we already know. You know, we understand history and what's been happening in this country. And so she pretty much gave me that power and understanding who I am, so that it can give me a confidence so that I won't have to go out into the world and not know who I am.
How important is it now for you in retrospect? I want you to talk about this. How important is it to begin education before a child enters the school system?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that, because I feel like a lot of people believe that education has to start only outside the home, and that's not true, because in order to have a community, it needs to start in the home first. The education always starts in the home. Education, matter of fact, I'm gonna say education even starts as pretty much as simple as a child latching onto a mother's the mother's breast, because the child is learning through the mother just from that interaction alone on who they're dealing with for the rest of their life, who's going to take care of them. And so the mom is pretty much, or the parent, whoever's taking care of the child first, is pretty much the first teacher and how the child is going to develop for the rest of their life. And so education always starts off in the home first.
Wow. So what I hear you saying is that we've got to appreciate, you know, the family. We got to respect the family unit, and we got to acknowledge the fact that a child is essentially learning as early. I mean, we could even say that they're learning inside the womb, but as far as what our eyes can see, they're learning when they latch on to the mother's breast. That's the first thing that you just taught us. The second thing that you taught us is that because the child is learning how to latch onto the breast, which is essentially one of the first things that a baby will do, that a baby is going to see the mother as its first teacher. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, continue.
Yeah, like you said, it starts off in the womb, and that's why a lot of mothers are always told to take care of themselves while they're pregnant, because anything that they ingest or they take in, even through their mind, is essentially carried on through the child, through the blood, through the chromosomes, through the genetics. And so you literally are shaping your child as you're learning while the child is still in your womb. Whatever you're eating, whatever you're reading, whatever you're listening to, is literally all being fed to that child.
Wow.
That's how deep it goes. And of course, we can't fit it all within within an hour, but that's the short version of it. It starts off with the womb. Yeah.
Right. And for those of us who just tuned in, we're talking about the early years of Kente Tahir, during which his mother was providing an education for him before he even entered kindergarten. And what he was talking about just now is how a child is learning in the womb through the thoughts and the mentality of the mother before that child is even born. So now you had all this knowledge of self going into school. I want you to talk to me about what was kindergarten and first grade like for Kente.
Oh man, it was nice. It actually was nice.
Okay.
It was nice, but it's funny because I had an experience before kindergarten. I had an experience because I was actually the only black child in my preschool at the time, and so I was going already at that point in my life. I was going through a feeling where I felt I was different. Okay, and so what happened is, in short, the story was that I was in class and the teacher had all the kids touch my hair, look at my skin as if I was like on a in a museum, and you see a statue and you see all the kids and say, "Hey, touch that! Look at that piece of history, right?" You want them to get to touch it, to see it, and that's how they pretty much put me up for display in that classroom at the time. And so my mom felt offended by that, and at that point, she realized that she had to really teach me my culture, my spiritual background, my culture, my history, who I was, so that I don't have to feel that type of feeling of being as if I'm put on display, or as if I'm really completely outcasted because of how I just look.
So how did you all move past that situation?
It just by first of all, she made me understand what was going on. I was really young at the time. I was like 5. I just moved from Philly at the time, and so she at that point let me know, look, this is who you are. This is what you're going to go through. This is what you got to do. And she's been like that from that moment all the way until I pretty much graduated high school.
Okay.
So even when I was 5, I remember. I even remember when she read me one of my first huge books was a Jackson 5 book when I was 5 to 6 years old.
Okay.
So she was already trying to teach me big words and everything so that I can be ahead of everybody early.
Right.
Because she's seen that already. They already had 3 strikes out on me as a 5-year-old.
Right.
And so she had to make sure I'm ahead of the curve. I have to work 2 times harder ahead of the curve than everybody else because I have, that going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, do you remember any of the books that your mother had you introduced to when you were younger?
Yeah, man. You know what? She not only read books to me like, Jackson 5 book, Winnie the Pooh kids books, stuff like that. But she also taught me artwork as well. She was one of my first teachers in art, learning how to color, how to express myself, reading those type of books to me so that I can learn my creativity really early.
Okay. All right. So let's move ahead a little bit. What was middle school like for you?
Yeah, middle school was nice, but it was a struggle. You go through. You're 12 to 14 years old. You're going to go through bullies. You're going to go through acting up and all those type of things. So for me, I had pretty much an issue with my anger, and so dealing with this, but the school system made it even worse because there was a lot of unfair treatment going on. To be frank with you, I mean straight up racism. To be honest, to be straight up with you, I mean, I remember one time when I first entered middle school when I was 12, already I was getting bullied. And it was a long process until, eventually you get tired of the bullying. So you defend yourself. And then when that happens, all of a sudden, from at least in my case, what happened is that they tried to make it seem like I was the bully. And I was only 12 years old, 13 years old.
Who was bullying you?
It was an 8th grader. He was older than me. He was going to high school.
Okay.
So I had just entered 6th grade at the time.
Okay.
And,
what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the way that we dealt with bullying back then versus the way that we deal with bullying today?
Well, back then it was more of we had like dare programs and all that type of stuff. So this is before cell phones was really out there like that. And so at the time, I remember growing up, we had dare programs and don't bully, and it's a non-bully zone and all those type of things. But to be honest, it really didn't stop anything because today it even goes the same way, but it's different now because now we got internet, we got all this technology going on, and then that's when cyberbullying started to come out and all those type of things. And so bullying has always been there, just been in different forms.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And so your response to being bullied was that you fought back.
Oh yeah, I had to because talking wasn't enough. He was a bigger kid. I was small. I was like 4'8".
Okay.
I was real small, and so he was a big kid. And so my first instinct was just to fight him off and just to do more than enough to make him leave me alone at the time.
Yeah. Okay. And if I can ask as well, where was your father at during these years of your life?
My father was actually incarcerated.
Okay. Okay.
So I forgot what grade. I think 1st grade. So he was incarcerated up until I almost got to high school, and that's when I finally got to see him again. And so during that gap, I was just pretty much being raised by my mom, my uncle, my grandpa, people like that, my grandmom. They pretty much was the ones who was raising me at the time.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that it's important for other family members to step in when a child loses one of its parents, no matter what the situation, whether it's incarceration, death, whatever the case may be? Do you think it's important for other family members to step in and help fill that gap?
They have to, because I mean it goes back to just that old saying: it takes a village to raise a child. You take more than one person to develop the mind of a child, whose mind is complex. They don't know what's going on, and so they're going to have many experiences going on, and so it takes more than one person to help them shape the understanding of their world. It's not just going to come from this one person.
Mm-hmm.
You got grandmom who came before your mother. You might have your great grandmom or great grandpa who came before them, and so it's always somebody who knows something that they don't know. And so it has to be a collective thing where everybody works together to develop that child and give that child a sense of community and communality and understanding and knowledge and wisdom.
Right, without a doubt. Yeah, so I just want to commend all the uncles and aunties out there who are stepping in to be effective members of young people's lives who might be missing a parent, or just to help fill developmental gaps. I mean myself, I place great value on aunties and uncles, or even older cousins. People who can deposit wisdom and enlightenment on your path as you're growing up. I think is very important. And I look out there today, and I think that there's work to be done in our families when it comes to cousins being connected closer, aunties and uncles being connected closer to their nieces and nephews, and just everybody being a closer knit entity. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Pop up.
What'd you say?
A lot of hands in the pot to help me grow up and learn things.
Right. Yeah. Very important. Very important. Okay. And do you remember any achievements that you had in middle school?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. A lot of people don't. Well, some people might already know, but I was a good artist and a good writer since forever.
Okay.
Since elementary school, and so in middle school, I actually won a competition and one of the best writers in my grade.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did. As a matter of fact, I achieved the same thing again in graduating high school as one of the best writers award. in my class. And so that one of the best achievements in middle school was definitely winning that competition because it showed me my ability to express myself on paper using words, even doing my artwork. And so I combined the two, and I was one of the best.
Wow. So did your ability to express yourself in words and through art help you to deal with anger issues or potential anger issues?
Yeah, you know what? It was that artwork, writing, and anything artistic, and I was really athletic.
Okay.
I was athletic as well, so I expressed myself in many ways, man. I had a lot of ways to express myself without just strictly being angry or hitting things. You know, I had football, I had track, things that keep my mind busy to deal with what was going on inside of myself internally.
What would you say to a young man or a young woman out there who's angry? They're angry, they're lashing out, and they don't have the opportunity to do sports. We got a pandemic going on right now. Nobody's allowed to play sports. What advice could you give them today? Can you help them?
First of all, with all this going on, a lot of people have to deal with the frustration of not being able to do what they used to do. And so you have to be creative and find new ways or you have to find more creative outlets to help release a lot of things that's going on inside of you. So you can go on a walk, you can run outside, you can take children out to play. Little things that we did before we had technology, really, like that. Going outside to play, board games, things that keep their mind busy at all times. I recommend pretty much anything that'll help that child, develop in a way where they're relaxed, or an adult as well.
Right.
There's many ways, reading book and coloring and drawing and going on the walks and playing with your family dog, whatever you got going on that's not so latched on to technology and what's going on in the world. Because to be honest, our world we're always in constant conflict with, our how we internally register things. And so intuition, intellect, these type of things, we're always in conflict with these things because we got so much distractions going on. And so when this COVID thing, everybody has a chance to not be distracted anymore by a lot of things. And so it gives them a chance to relearn things and redevelop their mind and recharge overall for everybody.
So you see the current situation that we live in as an opportunity for everybody to be more free of distraction, to kind of get more centered, if you will.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow. And in your case, it seems like even though somebody might have looked at you as having some temperamental problems, when you peel back that veil, inside of you was a great artist. And so for people out there listening today, you might have been frustrated by distractions. Like in your case, a distraction might have been the bully, right? But and for other people, their distraction might be something else. It might be, the news. It might be the newspaper. It might be something you're involved with that you want to, get not involved with anymore. But when you get beyond that, inside of you could be a form of expression waiting to come out.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Talk to us about what high school was like. And for those of us who are just now tuning in, we're talking to Kente Tahir. The reason why we do the format of discussion this way is so that people can understand how this man became who he is. We're going to get into that in a second segment. But I was doing a speech one day. I don't know if you know Kente, but I'm a motivational speaker. I spent years of my life in foster care. I had a variety of experiences in life. And one day I was speaking, and at the end, one of the young people, they got up and they said, I don't want to just feel like you came out of nowhere with a suit on and you're impressing me. I want to know about your childhood. I want to know about who you were in kindergarten. I want to know about who you was in middle school. And I want to know about who you was in high school. And so today, when we have these conversations, it's important to give people a holistic view of the person that we're talking to. And that's why we go throughout this format. I just want to drop that mention in there for our viewers. So can you talk to us about high school? What was that like for you?
High school, You know what? In high school, I got to really understand the importance of just being yourself.
Okay.
Really just being yourself, because I went almost to the same thing in middle school and high school, but it seemed as though the older I was getting, the worse it was getting, and so my anger is, and so according to my anger, how I was dealing with things, and so I had to really dig deep in high school and really understand myself, because they was at that point building this profile of who I was as an angry kid, and I was basically crazy and had no direction. And that was besides the point. Though I was successful in other ways, it over my anger and being in the fights and all those type of things with people who would, would try to frustrate me. Even teachers, dealing with them too. Well, they was building this profile around me as being this type of kid, and so I had to dig deep and realize, look, and my grandfather my grandpa and my mom had to kind of help me, and my grandma helped me understand that, look, they got an idea of who you are. The last thing you want to do is prove them right. So prove them wrong. Show them the best parts of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Not just to prove to them, but prove to yourself. Because it's beyond proving anything to them, you know? And so learning that, I think I was in 10th grade at the time learning that. And it really set the stage for how the rest of my high school career went in terms of what I was doing.
Let's take a minute and unfold this box called anger. I think that anger is everywhere in our communities. I think that anger is in our Congress. I think that anger is on our world stage. I think that anger is in our families. I think that anger is in our communities. Do you agree with that?
Definitely.
Do you think that, and we have a comment from Star Seaham, who is a very distinguished member of our community. She says, allow no one to define who you are. Good job, Kente.
Definitely. Yeah.
And also, let's take a moment to acknowledge some of our guests. We really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Stephen Cleary says, what a great voice. You can read audiobooks. To get some love for your voice there. Yeah. And Yolanda says, hey, Seth and Kente. Sierra says, good morning. I want to let you all know we appreciate each and every one of you. Every time you tune in to America's Next Motivator, continue to stop by. Right now, we're talking about anger. And anger, I think anger is a big issue in our communities. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah. And I also think that anger could be a sign of an imbalance, because to me, it's energy directed in the wrong direction, the wrong direction being anger. But with a different orientation, the amount of your energy that goes into anger, it could go into expressing your talent.
Yeah.
So could it be that anger is a result of an imbalance in your life? For instance, you said that your father wasn't around for quite some time. Is it possible? I know that all does not apply to every. Is it possible that you had an imbalance because your father wasn't there, and so where you would have been expressing yourself in art to a completely different level, you ended up expressing anger to a completely different level? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, man, and a lot of it, honestly, a lot of it, excuse me, a lot of it is subconscious. We don't realize that's the issue. Like, it took me a while to realize that was the main issue why I was angry, and I didn't know how to express it. It's subconscious. So I'm young, so I'm thinking like I'm mad because people getting on my nerves and all that, which was true, but it was some other underlying things that I wasn't dealing with, that I didn't want to come into terms with how I felt about certain things. Wow. But I will say this much though. I want to definitely give respect to my stepdad as well, because he came through in terms of helping me understand consistency and what it means to really love, how to love somebody other than my mom, because I'm used to having a mom. So I didn't, other than my grandpa, outside the family arena, I didn't really have that attachment really. So my stepdad came in my life, when I was a little bit younger, and even through high school, especially, he helped me understand that, look, it's never too late to get love, no matter how old you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's never too late to get that to fulfill that area in your life. You know, you don't have to just do it through that way, but it's other ways to fulfill that area in your life, and also there's nothing wrong to accept love from others who genuinely care about you. You know, we
Wow.
tend to do that. We tend to push people away who want to give us their love because we want to be strong and all these type of things. But being strong is being vulnerable. Vulnerability is strength, always.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're not taught that.
Very, very powerful thoughts that you provided with us today. You know, and when you said that your grandfather reached out to you and your stepfather reached out to you and kind of helped you to be able to deal with your anger in a sense, I thought that that was huge, you know.
Yeah.
But what I also want to touch on is that, you know, there are several different things that cause us to be angry. And then in your case, it's not that you were angry. So when we say this is an angry young man,
Mm-hmm.
this is an angry man here, you
Mm-hmm.
know. All the while, it's not that you were angry, it's that you were looking for love, possibly from your father, or from
Mm-hmm.
somebody else, but it's that you're looking for something. And so we have to always understand that for the outcome, there is a cause. For every outcome, there's a cause. And so we can't just deal with the outcome without dealing with the cause. In fact, we do a great disservice to somebody when we deal with the outcome instead of dealing with the cause. The cause is that you're looking for your father, so you're angry, or the cause is that your parents are going through a divorce, so you're angry. Now, this don't apply to you, but the cause is that your home is broken, and so you're angry. The cause is that you don't have food in your refrigerator, and so you're angry. And so we have a different set of subjects that we need to address instead of addressing the outcome. Every outcome has a symptom.
Definitely.
Would you agree with that? Every outcome has a symptom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so where did you go next? I know that you finished up high school. I'm sure you graduated with flying colors because you began to get a handle on your anger. Did you, before you graduated, did you start to understand why you were angry?
Yeah. You know what? I did. But still that pain never really goes anywhere. It took a while. I didn't really get over that anger really till I was 21.
Wow.
I was about 21 years old.
What happened? What happened when you turned 21? That made a difference for
Oh
you.
man. Yeah, it made a difference because when I was 21, I was dating a woman at the time, and she helped open that door to talk to my dad about how I really felt about him on all levels. And so
Wow.
she was like, "Listen, talk to your father. Like you don't have to relate to him in the way you want to, but at least try to start somewhere. Tell him how you feel on all levels." And I was like, "You know what? I'm just going to do it, man. I'm just going to do it, and then I'm just going to not hold back." And so when I had that conversation with him and told him how I felt, it released me in a lot of ways. It released me. It made me realize that I had the strength to really be my own healer if I took the right steps to do so.
Wow.
You understand? And so she introduced that to me at the time. And I was like, you know, through her father. And so it helped me develop as a man and made me realize that I had feelings and it's okay to feel these things and express these things in a healthy way.
You know, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you were able to have a conversation with your father before your anger manifests into something that really could have become a terminal mistake for you or for your family.
Yeah.
And even in addition to that, I'm proud that your father was able to have that conversation with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And
Because,
come to find out, my fault. Just to add
go ahead.
on real quick, come to find out, he didn't really even know his father as well. You
Wow.
know, so it became this chain. We got a lot of chains that's unbroken in our communities, man. I mean, especially Black communities, we got a lot of things unbroken chains. We don't want to break these chains in our family because everybody's so fearful of taking a new step, of learning something new to heal themselves and then healing themselves, not only healing their future, but their children's children, and completely starting a whole new genetic code of healers and healing.
Wow. You know,
so coming from broken to healing. Yeah.
Listen, I told you all that this man was powerful. Feel free to watch the replay, take the key words that he's given you and research them. Now we're talking about generational anger because when you went to go deal with your father about your anger issues, your father told you that his father was not in his life.
Right.
And now I'm thinking maybe out of the frustration that your father dealt with because his father wasn't there, then now he lashed out and made a mistake potentially that put him in jail.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, to an extent. I mean,
to an extent. Yeah.
If you had an imbalance because your father wasn't there and that imbalance resulted in anger, who's to say that your father didn't have an imbalance because his father wasn't in his life for however long he wasn't in his life, which could have resulted in an imbalance, which resulted in him making a mistake. Yeah. Right? But when you have a conversation, when you have a conversation, then you start the train. You start to rewire the genetic condition of what's happening from one generation to the next, right? So you all were in a generational, situation of anger, but then when you turned around, you stopped the locomotive. You turned around, you said, hold up, father, hold up, pops. Let's stop the train. Let's talk about why I'm angry and let's see if we can achieve some healing. You all healed each other. So now when you have a child or when you go to influence the next young man or to influence the next young lady, you're not doing it with a lopsided or an imbalanced perspective. You're doing it with a different genetic code. I'd like to say that you began to have a different genetic expression once you had those healing moments with your father. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. You know, the way that this brother described what happened in his life and the way that they dealt with it was really a key as to what we need to do in our communities and what will happen once we do what we need to do in our communities. And what I mean by that is this: once we start to have effective conversations about what's happening and we talk to the people who are the parties of the things that are happening that are hurting us and harming us, then we can begin a process of healing. When we begin that process of healing, our genetic expression can change. That means, in his case, you could go from an angry young man to an artist, to a spiritual presence, to a mental presence. And now we're manifesting a new community. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with this powerful conversation that we're having with Brother Kente Tahir. America's Next Motivator. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator. Hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. Kente, how you feeling out there, man?
I'm feeling good. I'm happy we're having this conversation. I think this is going to definitely give people a new perspective on things, and I always enjoy new perspectives. So yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're bringing about a new conversation that hopefully people can have in their families and in their communities about the way that your genetic expression changes when there's healing in your family. Can you talk to us about genetic expression? What is that?
Genetic expression means that your behavior is dictated by not only your genetics, but your behaviors are not only dictated by the way you think, but also your genetic code. Okay. And so when you go through the process of healing, you actually can change your genetic code and DNA code to uh to help reset your mindset and reset your body. So prime example, people who are stressed out, who are very stressed, when they go to therapy and they go through healing, the body at first when it's stressed, it may have, for women, let's say for women is lupus, these type of stressful things going on,
Wow.
depression, all these things. When they go through healing, before they go through healing, at first their body has adverse reactions. So let's say they get sick, they get tired, they look, they lose their appetite, all these things. Their body is literally affected by the way they think, literally.
Wow.
And feel. And so when you go through a healing process, you're literally changing your genetic code to turn that switch off. And now you begin to heal. And now you begin to look lively again. You want to eat again. You begin to love again. All the things that are considered healthy and balanced begin to be expressed again. And so therefore, it literally starts off in the genetic code in your body. Your mind, the matter always follows the mind, always.
You said the matter follows the mind.
Always, yeah.
My mind is blown right now because what you're talking about can literally change the future of people across the world.
Mm.
You mean to tell me that I can have an impact on my own genetic expression? Is that what you're telling me?
Definitely, no doubt.
When you say that, I'm thinking about this. You ever been outside or talking to somebody and they'll say, "Oh, you stressed out. It runs in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got high blood pressure. It runs in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got hypertension. It runs in the family.
Mm-hmm.
You have XYZ. It runs in the family. You mean to tell me that we can stop something from running in the family?"
Definitely, man. Now, I'm going to be clear. When I say stop running in the family, I'm saying you can literally turn that switch off. So it's still there, but it's not on.
Okay.
Okay. And so, I mean, we got multiple master teachers who teach that. Dr. Sabi, Dr. Layla Africa, peace be upon him, and on all the other ancestors who came before us, and elders who teach us that health starts off in our genetics. It really does. It starts off in our body, from the inward to the outward, not in reverse. We're affected by the outward, but the healing starts from the inward out.
Mm-hmm. So some people say, just for instance, beauty starts from within. You're telling me that there's truth to that.
Yes.
Now I know that you just can't literally transform overnight, but it's possible that once you understand things, meaning once you have the proper orientation, then there is a set of switches inside your body that you can impact. You can turn them on, you can turn them off through discipline. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And maybe even through the foods that you eat. So let's say, okay, with a combination of the foods that you eat and your discipline, those two things alone can help you to affect some of your genetic switches.
Yes.
Okay. And then I want you to teach me this. When I talk about a genetic switch, am I talking about the release or the discontinuation of a release of chemicals in the body?
That too. Yep.
Wow. Okay. What are some things that we can do to begin to impact our own genetic expression?
Well, I mean, as all things begin, we got to begin with ourselves. It always got to start with ourselves. No matter who we blame for whatever going on in our life, we got to start off with ourselves. We got to start off with that because, I realize that in this society, we're always taught to be distracted from our issues. Nobody ever really wants to talk about being a direct influencer of your own issues and changing yourself. We always want somebody on the outside to do it for us. We don't want to take the necessary steps to heal ourselves. You understand? And so it always begins with the self, always. By the way you eat, the way you do things, all that affects what happens in terms of your habit and in terms of what you do and how you perform in life.
When does meditation or feng shui, understanding your energy flow, your chi, when does that come into play when you look at changing your genetic expression?
Meditation, well, first of all, meditation can come in many ways. It doesn't have to always be in a lotus position when your head and back is straight and you're doing, and all that type of stuff. You don't gotta do that all the time. Meditation can be simply you just painting one day, or it's doing what you love that helps you relax to the point where you're open to your inner voice.
Inner voice, okay.
Yeah.
You telling me people have an inner voice?
Oh yeah, definitely. It is. If I say that color, I think KRS-One did it one time. It's a perfect example. He says, "Look," so I'm gonna use that example. So if I say, "Hey, say the color red in your head without saying a word," you'll say it in your head. You'll say it. Now I didn't hear it, but I know you said it. That's the same concept. It's the inner voice, something that's telling you, that's speaking from the inside without physically speaking. Everybody has an inner voice that goes deep within themselves to help them understand what's going on outside of themselves.
Wow. Now, what would you say to somebody who says, I don't have an inner voice? I don't know what you're talking about, but that's not me.
I might believe them to an extent, because a lot of times, a lot of our thinking is not our own thinking. We kind of get everybody else's influence and their voice in our own head and thinking that we're thinking for ourselves, but we're not.
So you got a lot of other people's thoughts in your head.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you think you're expressing yourself, you could be expressing something that somebody else told you.
Exactly. Not necessarily. It's not originally your own thinking. It's an influence. Their thinking becomes an influence in your life. Yeah.
So somebody told you that you was nobody, so then you're gonna open your mouth and say, I ain't nobody.
There you go. Right.
Somebody told you you're not gonna be a star, so then you open your mouth and say, I'm not a star.
Yep.
Somebody told you you're going nowhere fast, so then you're gonna tell me I'm not going nowhere fast. Is that the type of thing you're talking about?
Yes.
Wow. How do we detox? What does it take for us to detox the thoughts that other people deposited in us that really don't belong there? How do we detox?
That's based on an individual person. So okay. I don't have one set way for everybody, but I can speak for those who I've talked to and myself in a way of detox, and that's number one: turn off everything that you think you know, because what we think we know does not necessarily mean it's true.
Okay, and then where do we go from there?
And then from there, you start the healing process of something that you take out what's not needed, and then you put in what's a necessity to you. So you take out the negative thinking, you take out everybody else's thoughts, you take out those things that tell you you're not going to be nothing, you take out the thing that's saying I'm going to be broke, I'm never going to amount to anything. You take all these things out and you replace it with something that's positive, something that you feel is true about yourself. You put in, hey, I am confident. Hey, yo, I love myself. Yo, I love doing this. You start to it's a process. It's literally like a process of taking out one thing, replacing it with another thing. It's a constant process. And it takes time. It takes years. It's not a quick fix. Nothing's a quick fix when it comes to healing yourself. It takes time.
You know what? This is deep, because what you're talking about is spiritual work. And what you're also talking about is something that, I don't really hear people talking about. You're telling me that instead of me being 30, 40, 50, and 60 years old, thinking the thoughts that were deposited into me, thinking that I'm inferior because of where I was raised, or thinking that, I have to be a square peg because everybody out there is a square peg. You're telling me that whenever I so choose, I can go into my own mind and I can take thoughts that don't belong. I can take them out and I can essentially put them in the trash. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hold on. Because it's almost like I want you to repeat yourself, because you're making me feel like I can be my own doctor. You're making me feel like I can reach into myself, take thoughts and feelings that don't belong from a almost like a spiritual standpoint. I can take them out and I can put them in a universal trash can.
Yes.
Dang, my brother. Hey, that's deep. That's deep. Jeffrey Helm says, this is true fact and is with spiritual help. Now, for those of us who might think that you're on to something, but they're going to need some spiritual help, how can people get spiritual help to take out some of the negative deposits that might have been put in them and to put them in the universal trash?
First of all, that's my father, so shout out, love you. Repeat that question again, brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah, shout out to your father in the building, Mr. Helms, Jeffrey Helms. Shout out to you. Shout out to Vavi Solomon also.
Yeah, Vavi Solomon, shout out to that. That's a healer right there. That's a powerful healer.
Okay, Vavi, feel free to drop some comments in the comment box for our viewers. Dennis Washington is here as well. What I'm talking about is spiritual help. So for those people who might think, oh, Brother Kente is onto something when he tells me I have the power to take negative deposits out of myself. See, because I thought that was my parents' job, even though I'm grown now. I thought that was the pastor's job. I thought that was the politician's job. I thought that was my child's job. Here you are telling me that it's my job to reach into myself and take things out that don't belong. I'm going to need help with that. Where can I find help with that?
Oh man, it's a lot of really good books. I mean, it's tons and tons of books that really help you get into it. One of the books everybody knows is The Four Agreements. That's one of the main basic books that helps really expand and understand how your thinking goes, the process of your thinking.
Okay.
Real nice, basic book. There's a lot of books. It's a book by Osho, O-S-H-O. It's called Intuition, where he kind of gives you the breakdown of your intuition and how your mind has been shaped and how to take that concept out and replace it with a concept that's more truthful to your nature.
Okay.
So these type of books, these type of self-help books, spiritual books help you dig deep into, who you are.
Okay. Are there also spiritual helpers out there? Is there somebody that we can call? Is there somebody that we can get in touch with who could explain to us more of what you're talking about?
There's plenty of them. But before you even get to them, you need to start with yourself.
Okay. What can we do? There you go. What can we do? What can I do? What can I do to start today to get onto the journey of spiritual healing?
Easy. Number one, admit that you messed up.
Wow. Now
you messed up, man. We don't want to admit that. We got too much ego and pride into not admitting that we messed up in the first place. It got to come from.
So, ladies and gentlemen, right now we're having a powerful conversation with the brother Kente to hear. We have some people in the building who I've never seen before, and I appreciate you deeply. We got comments coming in from Vavi Solomon, the website, vavisolomon.com. When you're looking for illness and wellness, get in touch with that brother there. This is one of the episodes that we need to share out, that we need to spend more than 2 minutes looking at, and invite a family member. Show somebody this, because a lot of the time we don't think that we can do some of this spiritual work. We don't think that we can be an agent in our own change. And that's what Brother Kente is talking about today. So we're talking about being an agent in our own healing today. I think that's very powerful. You here with us?
Hello?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Can you all see me? Or can y'all not see me?
Yeah. We see you and we hear you.
Okay, yeah, I can't see myself. It's fine. Let's just go. Let's go from there.
Yeah.
No, you can't trust technology too much.
I said in the beginning of this broadcast that you're dealing with a rainstorm out there. Your power is out. I'm also dealing with a rainstorm out here, but we're still making it happen. And as we round third base, we got about 7 minutes left of this conversation, and I want you to talk to us about some of the teachers that you listen to. Who are some of the master teachers that you listen to in order for you to have a well-rounded perspective in your life today?
Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, it's a lot, man. First of all, I listen to brothers like Dr. Phil Valentine, sisters like Dr.
Okay. So for the people that don't know, he's talking about Dr. Phil Valentine is somebody that he listens to. These are people that you can take upon yourself to go out there and find them. Listen to and see what they're talking about. All right. He also mentioned Dr. Jewel Pookrum. Those are two people just for starts.
Hello?
Yep, we're here with
my thing went out again. I'm sorry. So yeah, Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr. Jewel Pookrum, Sister Miss Blue, brother Bobby Hemmett, brother Panic, brother Laila Africa, Sister Myra L, Sister Sherazade Ali. I mean, it's many brothers and sisters. Sister Frances Cress Wilson. You know, it's a lot of brothers and sisters who really delve deep into the spiritual science and understanding.
Okay. All right. Now, the reason why I wanted you to go through some of those people is because some people, they go their whole entire life and never heard of any of these people.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And we want to be a place where if somebody is looking for a direction, they're watching America's Next Motivator, and then we've given them some direction, right? A lot of the time I have conversations with people and they reference spirituality as a way of getting out of their adversities, as spirituality as a way of getting out of their challenges in life. And so today we've been able to clear up a little bit of the mysticism that people associate with spirituality. We got some teachers that we can look up. We got some books that we can actually put our hands on and read. And just one more thing that I think that we could use a little bit more information on. I see that you have a necklace on. It looks like there's a crystal in that necklace.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shout out to brother was it Jerry?
Okay.
Miller. Miller made me this, and this is a actual real live scorpion inside of this is called an ordinate necklace, which helps against radiation and low electromagnetic frequencies. A lot of brothers like Dr. Double Blair talk about these type of things.
Okay.
Low electromagnetic frequencies that affect our genetics. It affects not only our genetics, but our thinking, our blood. All these things work on a electromagnetic frequency. That's how the universe works on. That's how birds are able to navigate to the south and things like that without getting lost. So all these type of things go on we don't realize. And so this helps protect you against those low frequencies that can possibly trap a lot of those negative thought forms and negative, vibrations. And so this is real nice. Brother Jerry.
What role do crystals play in mitigating negative energy? We've been talking about removing negative energy out of your energy field and things that can help you do that. What role do crystals play in that process?
Crystals are nothing but vessels that without energy and intention put into them, they don't work.
Okay.
They don't work. So don't think you're just going to get a crystal and it's going to just work for you. You have to put in the intention inside of it for it to work. It's like yourself. You have to put intention within yourself for things to start to work. Or else you're just not doing anything. Yeah.
You telling me as we wrap up, one last bombshell that you're providing with me today is that you can put an intention inside of a crystal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I already know is that crystals are essentially mechanisms that can send and receive frequencies. So let's say you are in a low place, you are depressed, you are sad, you're frustrated with life, you're distracted, and you decide to do spiritual work. You get a high quality crystal and you put positive intentions, positive thoughts into it, and then eventually it will send those positive frequencies back onto you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. That's how the universe works. People think it just works on just putting it out there, hoping you get something back. No, you got to have that intention. I wrote about it in my article on my website, darkmatterthinktank.space. I talk about how without intention, intention is the plug to make things you want come back to you and help you receive things. Without intention, without the plug, nothing works.
You know what, Brother Kente? This hour has flown by. I have 3 questions that I have for you, and I'd love to bring you back at some point in the future. The first one is, what is survival to you?
Survival. That's a good question. Survival is when you have no choice but to do so, just so you can live on a day-to-day basis.
What is success to you?
Success is what you make it.
Okay. And what is greatness to you?
Greatness is living your purpose, regardless of what anybody tells you. You know your purpose and what you got to do.
Absolutely. Brother Kente to here, I want to let you know that I see your work. I acknowledge your work. I commend you for deciding to be a student before you become a teacher. You're doing research, you're reading books, and you're providing a positive conversation to our community. And I respect that a lot. I want to let you know that I give you your crown today while you're still living. And I want to let you know and let the world know that you, Brother Kente Tahir, is one of America's next motivators.
Thank you, brother. Give peace. Now, thank you for bringing me on. Much love to everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope to talk to some of you all soon. Thank you, brother Sid. I appreciate you, brother. You're doing some awesome work.
Thanks for stopping by, my brother.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, America's Next Motivator is a platform for inspiration, education, and motivation. When you stop by here, you never know what's in store. All you got to do is pull up and pick it up.